In this module titled It Starts with the Project in Altium, we will examine the role that projects play in the Altium Designer environment using an example project. Then we will start a new design project from scratch. The project concept in Altium Designer is central to the design flow. Looking at the SL1 design in the project panel, we see that the files are structured under the project file. Projects in Altium tie together the schematics, PCB, and related design files, logically organizing those design files. To that end, the project file stores a list of all the files that belong to the project. This list consists of all the file names and the links to their locations. In this way, Altium Designer understands what is and what is not in the project. Looking at the design in the project panel, we can see that this is a hierarchical design. This is indicated by there being a single schematic with indented schematic documents listed underneath. The SL1 Xilinx Spartan-IIE schematic is the top-level schematic. Opening up that schematic, we can see a number of blocks called sheet symbols in Altium. These represent the lower-level schematics in the top level of the design. Hovering over them, we can see a pop-up window with a thumbnail view of the schematic that the sheet symbol references. Looking at the schematic, you will notice that one of the sheet symbols does not have any connections at the top level. This indicates that the schematic reference does not have any connections to the rest of the design. For this particular schematic, it has both global power connections and an I/O connector. Let's take a look. Hovering over the sheet symbol, we see the pop-up view. To open up this schematic, hold down the Control key and then double-click on the sheet symbol. Let's use a shortcut to zoom in on the components in the schematic. To do so, type the letter V followed by F. Now the view zooms to show all of the objects for this schematic. This is a great way to change the zoom level to show only the elements on the page. This also works for the PCB views as well. Looking at this schematic, we see that it has only one external connector and some power ports. This is why there are no connections at the top level of the design schematic. Power ports are globally connected and therefore do not need to be hand-wired between the various schematic sheets in the design. To return to the top schematic, you can click on its tab in the workspace. Let's create a new project in Altium. To do this, click on File and select New and then Project. This opens up the New Project dialog window. We will select PCB Project and then we will enter our project's name. Now let us provide a location to store the project files. We can use the Browse Location button and navigate to where we would like the project stored. We can also have Altium Designer automatically create a project folder. To do so, click on the Create Project Folder checkbox. Now that we have selected a PCB project, assigned a name and its location, we have one more setting to consider. The project kind is set using the pull-down menu. The default is regular, but there are two other types of projects: version control type or VCS, and managed. We will use the default regular type. Clicking OK creates the new project file in the location with the name we specified. Now that we have a project file, we need to add schematics and a PCB to the project. To add a new schematic to the project, right-click on the project file name, and then when the pop-up window comes up, select Add New to Project and then Schematic. The schematic has not yet been saved, so let's do that now. Right-clicking on the schematic file entry in the project panel brings up a menu. Select Save As to save the file and give it a name. As a double check, ensure that you are saving the file in the correct location for the project. Notice the project file now has an asterisk at the end. This indicates that the project file needs to be saved to update it to reflect the added schematic file in the design. If you remember, we set this as a preference setting earlier. To update the project file, right-click on it in the panel and then click Save Project. While we're adding files to the project, let's include a PC board as well. Again, going to the project file, right-clicking on it, now select Add New to Project and then select PCB. This will add the default PCB to the project and open it. For now, let's just rename it. Right-clicking on the file in the project panel, we follow the same process as with the schematic. Pick Save As, then in the pop-up window enter the name in the form, New PCB. and check to ensure that it's being saved in the local directory. Again, we need to save the project to update it with the new file entry. We have explored the concept of projects in Altium and then created a new project including a schematic and a PCB in the project. In our next module, we will look at libraries briefly.